guest for a bunch of people, and it works really well.
Okay.
For webinars, I've used StreamYard in the past as well, like when I was at Smile, because like it's really good for like green room, and then fantastic to like stream live stream on other platforms. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're still learning Riverside, and hopefully, as we do more virtual sessions, we want to be able to make it available to make it online, use the clips, etc. And I'm sure you've also seen, say that?
I say it's really good for that, like turning it the webinars or the recordings to like podcasts that you can clean.
Yeah. And I see a lot of people are doing podcasts like one-on-one. I mean, you've been ahead of the game for a minute, but I feel like there is like what's missing is a conversation that people can join live and partake. And I'm hoping to do more of these throughout the year, because oftentimes when you're watching the podcast, it's after the fact, right?
You might have questions.
Right?
Yeah, you might have some questions that could keep the conversations going.
Right. So on that note, for people who are on this call, I'm very grateful that you're able to join us. If you do have questions, please hold on till the end of the session. And Peace has, I think, up to 45 minutes for us. What we'll try to do is we'll try to keep this conversation under 30 minutes. If you have a question and you're very impatient, please post it in the comments so that as we go into the Q&A, we can take your questions. And yeah, Peace, welcome to this ever session, which we're calling Fundraising Readiness. The reason why we're doing this is because of a product that we're launching at Borderless called Raised by Borderless. While this product is not the center of this conversation, we want to be able to hopefully help more founders on that fundraising journey. The reason why I invited you on this particular conversation is because you've worn so many hats. Again, we just touched on the fact that you're a venture partner at Hogue, you've invested as an angel, you are a super operator, you've done everything from I went to your LinkedIn today, it's like you did seed startups, you worked at the Series A, Series B company, and now you're a founder. So yeah, I'm hoping to, for people who don't know you, I'll be surprised if a lot of people on this call don't know you. But I want to go straight into it. Like, for people who don't know Peace, how do you describe yourself these days?
Thank you, Joe, for that lovely introduction. And thanks for having me. This is the first webinar I'm doing this year. So this is fun because Borderless feels like home.
Thank you.
So how do I introduce myself these days? I think two things stand out. One, I'm a founder. So I'm a founder of Rivva, which is an AI productivity tool that helps people to auto-plan their day according to their unique energy rhythm. I'm also founder of Founders Connect, which is a media company that does storytelling for African builders across the world. And we also host events across the world as well. So founder, and then still storyteller, because I still like to tell stories. I still like to make videos. I still like to share. I still like to interview people. I think that's always going to be a huge part of my identity and what I do. Even with Rivva now, I'm going to start doing more founder-led marketing. So that's another side to storytelling as well. So founder and storyteller, that's me today.
Amazing. I love it.
Simpler now. I say it is simpler now. At some point, I would have done marketer, this. This is simple now.
I love it. And I think that it really sums up the center of our conversation today. You as a founder, and also you as a storyteller. When I met you through Hogue, which is the investment collective that we run. But one of the highlights for me as a founder is my interview on Founders Connect. And if you haven't watched it, I think you should watch it. It's gotten a lot of views. And I think up until this day, people reach out to me because they saw that interview that you did. And I felt like you managed to tell my story and you pulled all those words out of me. And every now and again, I go back to watch it. And it feels so long ago, but also feels like yesterday. My question is, first question is why did you start Founders Connect in the first place? And what were the gaps you were seeing among African founders that storytelling can solve?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I still remember your interview and I still love it. So why did Founders Connect start? I think the gap that we wanted to solve was to help a lot more companies to tell their stories. I think I noticed that there was a gap between how companies were actually built and how their stories were publicly understood, right? They know a lot of founders who are getting more comfortable in telling their stories and being able to say it from like a very unique and authentic standpoint. It felt like it always had to be scripted, like it had to be like a PRO piece. And that usually came from, there's a huge announcement. I just raised money, something fantastic just happened, or something bad just happened. Then you hear about a company. But what I know is that for stories, there's always a compounding effect for the founder, for the company, for the employers, for the investors. And I felt like we would grow better as an ecosystem. We'll get more people who understand what it takes to build, and the founders can also get more benefit if they just share. It doesn't have to be a PRO piece. I'm just sitting with someone and having a conversation and reflecting about my journey. And what I have seen over the last, I think it's been like 4 years now of just telling our stories consistently is testimonials like you're saying, people reach out to me because they heard my story. If someone said, oh, an investor reached out to me because they heard my story, they feel like they can connect to me. Now we're having a conversation, I raise money. Or suddenly people are applying for jobs at our company because now they really, really like our culture and have an understanding behind why we're building this. And it's not because there was one piece that was like a breaking news. It was just the story. And it's evergreen content, right? So when you tell your story, it's always there. Even if what you have done has changed. Like I interviewed Onjuke Mano when he was building LaserPay. That video still gets views. And he might not be building LaserPay right now, he's building Liquid, but people can still relate to that story and also say, hey, this is where he came from. This is how he started. This is what I know about him now. I thought that was very interesting. And so that's why we started it. And that's why we're still doing it. And we have evolved like bringing people and bringing communities together, because once you start sharing stories out there, we realize there's connection, there's relatability, there are ways that people can connect and learn from each other, and that brings into the community and find more ways to like expand on that.
I love it. Do you have a number? Like how many interviews have you done on Founders Connect?
112. I know that number because I recently started transcribing them for a project, and I'm like, that's a lot of conversations.
That's yeah. Is there a pattern? Like now that you're transcribing, I'm sure you're having to read over them. Like, is there a trend that you've noticed, specifically around the founders who make it and the ones who don't?
Yeah, going to make me divert some of the things I'm trying to transcribe and learn. I would say this, right? There are two things that I was reflecting on today, just from like reading through the first things. And the first two patterns that have stuck, it's not necessarily about who fails or who doesn't. It's sort of like how people's journey converge. The first one is around exposure. I literally wrote about it because I was like thinking about it, and I quickly like made a note and put it on my newsletter today. And how a lot of the founders who are building today, it's not because they just woke up one day and there was a grand idea. It felt like it was a convergence of different experiences that they've had, and then suddenly realizing, oh, this is possible because I saw this person do this as well. And it just made me reflect on, you can stay in one place and say you want to solve a problem, but until you get out into the world and actually start living, you don't really recognize the pattern or recognize the problem or how it could be solved. And just exposing yourself to the community, exposing yourself to like new possibilities can change automatically what you feel like your ambition could be or what the possibilities are. The second one that has come up over and over against people. So whenever I ask founders, what is the thing you're most proud of, or what is the thing that is challenging, is always people. And like, we think that what built a company is the idea, oh my God, this person had a fantastic idea, or they just managed to raise a lot of money. But founders are like, what is really helping is the quality of people I'm able to convince to say they want to work in the company, and then the culture that we end up building. So every time when I look at the work is growing, it's like, it's somebody else that's doing it, not me anymore, but I was able to bring them together and finding more ways to like nurture the people that you have. So I think that's one thing that has been, I'm like, you would think it's just, I had a great idea, or like the founder is very dogged and very resilient, but to really succeed, you need to carry and nurture your people and learn how to sell to get the best people in and for them to buy into the vision in the first place.
What I'm thinking from this is like two really important things: selling and hiring. Like, I think like hiring is a no-brainer. If you have the right people on the team, things just flow. like a
Yeah.
Rivva. You know, I'm gonna park that for a second. No, I think that's super, super interesting. You mentioned your newsletter. Do you want to plug your newsletter very quickly for people who don't know?
Yeah, it's peaceitimi.substack.com or Peace Itimi on LinkedIn, and just subscribe to the newsletter on LinkedIn. So peaceitimi.substack.com. I'll paste the link real quick.
Thank you. Yeah, so if you're here, how often do you write? Weekly, bi-weekly?
There's no cadence. I just write. Yeah, I just for now I'm just writing when I feel like I have something to say and when there's an inspiration. Mostly say that again. Oh, somebody muted.
Somebody unmuted themselves.
Yeah, mostly because when you think about marketing and distribution, right, there are two things that matter, right? And it varies depending on where you are. One of them is consistency and quantity. So sometimes to get something started, a lot of the times to get something started, to push stuff, the consistency matters. You just have to put out content. Founders Connect became known because the first year and a half, I think I did over 50 or 60 interviews. So like half of what I've done in 4 years, I did them the most in one first year just before I moved. And so when you do that consistently, you build a reputation, you understand what's working real quickly, you get all the feedback, and then you can now start optimizing for quality. And then quality is now just kind of like sustaining it. And so I'm in a place where I'm not necessarily needing to like build from scratch. So I don't have to be overly consistent, but I'm trying to optimize for quality. At some point, that will shift. Like on Rivva right now, we are beginning to just build out the marketing. So a lot of the content there is just going to be going from like a very consistent and like high output. But yeah, personally on Peace Itimi, I write when I feel like I have something to say. And I felt like I had something to say this morning, so I did.
That's awesome. I'm going to change the conversation drastically, but I'm going to come back to Rivva because I want to, I mean, you know how passionate I am about Rivva, and you know, I've told you how many times how much I care about it. But I want to talk about traction. You know, you've spoken to a lot of founders who mention traction, and all the time, like people think traction is just revenue or number of users. But as an investor myself, I think it's really about proof that people care about. Like people care what a building, what a founder can deliver. I want to hear your thoughts on like what at this stage in your career, what do you think traction is? Because you know you build a big audience, you're also building a product. Like, how are you describing traction at this very? Because you're like, I think Founders Connect is mature.
Yeah.
Rivva is new.
A baby.
Baby, like so.
Yeah.
How are you connecting these dots when it comes to?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
The first thing is investors do care about the revenue and the users, right? Mm-hmm. That's not all they care about, but they do care about it. So I would not say, oh, don't focus on users, don't focus on revenue. If you are going to build any business, you need the users and you need the revenue anyway, and you should care about that first for what investors care about. So that's what I'm saying. But when it comes to like early believers, and when you don't have that, the revenue and the paying users, you can still get a lot of traction. You can still get things moving, a lot of momentum with investors or with community by also just relying on proof, which is, do you have the audience, right? One of the things that has worked for me is I have the audience. I know that they care about, even if they don't entirely care about just the problem because they might not realize what is there yet, they care about peace enough to listen. And then I will begin to build them or prime them for that specific problem I'm trying to solve, or that specific product I'm trying to market. So like the audience matters. And that could be like your own audience that you build for your brand entirely, or that could be like a waitlist audience of people who are beginning to know that, okay, yes, this thing is not ready yet, but I'm interested on it. But you need to show proof that you have validated this space, this problem, in X, Y, and Z ways, right? From the user interviews I'm done, for the LOIs I've signed, or from the waitlists that I have, or just knowing that I have the marketing power or distribution, that when I actually launch, I will get traction and get those users and revenue faster than an average founder who doesn't have my advantage, which is community and distribution. So yeah, I think those are some of the things that I've seen that investors are also willing to bet on, not just when you have users. Obviously, yeah, there has to be great as well.
And on Rivva specifically, what role has storytelling played in building that first like user base? And also what role has it played in getting investors? you have raised some money. Like, how did storytelling help you?
I think two ways. I first started to write about and share about the problem space way before I told anybody I was building it. And so the very first signs of validation, or understanding more and more about how people were thinking about it and the experience, and then getting from like a LinkedIn post and somebody liked to comment and to me going to their DM to follow up on that, was because I posted something, right? So just using the power of, I can write, I have an audience, I can tell stories, and somebody reads it and you kind of like, oh, let's have a conversation, and you're just learning more. And I just kind of did that spirally over a couple of weeks, and I'm like, okay, yes, people care about this. I'm getting more insights. I'm doing my user interview. So that was helpful in helping me to shape the idea, shape the product outside of just trying to say, hey, I have a fantastic idea, let me just go build it. Because you always need validation, you always need feedback. So before we even had anything for a beta user to test, there was talking to a bunch of people and just writing about it and seeing what was actually going on in there. And then that's one way. So the other way that storytelling has helped was with the people who have betted very early on us to say, nobody knows about building this. We haven't publicly launched, but this is the problem. This is the product we're trying to build, but then we can tell the stories around the industry better. We can tell the stories of our own journey as founders as well. And people betting on, I've seen you have done this, so I think that you'll be able to do this. So I think it was a mix, like, it's a mix of things, right? If I narrow down to the reasons why the people who have betted have, it would be a proof of you can do the work. So you have been an operator, you've built Founders Connect, is known. Yeah, I think that this is a worthy risk to take, right? One is just really being able to tell the story and drive and say, hey, this is what we have so far, even if like we haven't launched. And then the third one is to keep building the audience. So as I've been building in stealth, I've also spent a lot of time still making sure that I'm feeding my audience. I'll still post a video here. I'll still use Founders Connect here, because I'm not waiting for the audience to just say, oh yes, here I am. For your audience, for engagements to grow on any platform, you need to make sure that you're still feeding them something, right? Otherwise, everybody's a content creator right now. Everybody's putting something out there. People get overwhelmed and things can easily get lost. So I keep priming to make sure that there's a touch, right? This top of mind for when the announcement eventually comes.
Yeah, I feel like you've been building this traction for 4 years, right? And there's that compounding effect of consistently doing the work. And now that you're bringing something new, you're not unfamiliar to your audience. And people like, I know Peace, I've been to her event, I saw her, I've done some stuff with her. So you've already built that audience, which is pretty cool. Like for founders who are starting from zero, no audience, no online presence, like what does community building look like for them online and offline? And like, what should they be doing? People who don't have Founders Connect, people who are probably just at work, right? They have this idea, like, what does like building, like, how can they approach this?
Yeah. I think the easiest way, or my easiest advice, the MVP, is pick a platform and publish something, right? So I'll start with pick a platform. So pick a platform first, because the great thing about the era that we live in right now is that there's so many ways that you can tell your story, and there's so many ways that you can create distribution, or you can build community. There's so many ways. There's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, Reddit. There's just pick a platform, right? And it doesn't have to be what you think everybody's using, right? There was a time where you would feel like if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I wouldn't do well, but that's not true. They're Instagram creators. Then there are creators. There are people who are just focused on Twitter right now. I follow a lot of builders who Twitter is their entire founder-led marketing strategy, and they're just building their audience there. And then there's LinkedIn as well. The most important thing is picking the one that you think that you'll be most consistent with, right? And obviously, you need to have a balance of, one, my users are actually here, but then I am also going to be consistent. So if you hate Instagram and you decide you want to go start on Instagram, very unlikely you'll gain traction, because you're going to be forcing yourself to get into it. But you probably prefer TikTok. Or you feel like, I'm more of a writer than a video person. Yes, there's a lot of video content that's doing the world, but there's a lot of people who are also writing articles and they're growing your audience. So the easiest way is pick a platform, the one that you think that your users are, and one that will be very easy for you to just begin. Because eventually you're going to start compounding and start repurposing. What works on Twitter now can work on LinkedIn. What works here can be repurposed to this. But if you start repurposing immediately, it's like you're building any habits. You want to stack instead of trying to build 10 different habits at the same time. Because if you try 10, you're going to get overwhelmed one day and everything will break. But if you stack, then you get really good at Twitter. Then you start applying to LinkedIn. You start building. Next thing you know, you're on 5 different platforms, and it's pretty good. So pick a platform first and stack eventually. Then the second one is like publish, right, which is saying something. Now, there are 2 ways that I think, 2 things that really helps, that makes it very easy to generate content ideas. One is, what are you currently building? What are you currently learning? It's very, very easy. What are you building? As per Joe is building Borderless. So he talks a lot about Borderless, investment, African diaspora. You don't need to go too far. And you don't need to necessarily sell. You're just talking about, because if you're a founder, what I have learned is that it's going to occupy a lot of your mind space. So you are most likely thinking about that problem space, thinking about the industry, thinking about trends, thinking about the product, reflecting, talking to your users, talking to your co-founders multiple times a day.
24 hours.
Just take 30 minutes and just do a dump on ChatGPT and be like, I'm thinking about this right now. Write me something about it. And you can just edit that because you're already thinking about that problem space. And then the second one is the thing that you're learning. Because if you only focus on just product, yes, your audience gets really tired and it feels more like this should be a branded page. But if you are like, I'm trying to build something as a builder, a personal brand, a founder-led marketing strategy, then it has to be human and relatable. And there's really nothing as human and relatable as, I cannot just learn to this. And this made a lot of sense for me. And then somebody can pick something from there. It doesn't always have to be, I'm the authority and this is the best framework ever. It could also just be, I found this conversation interesting and people are like, oh, that's a really good insight. Those are 2 easy things that you can build the muscle with. And eventually find trends and start experimenting, right? If you spend enough time on Twitter or LinkedIn or TikTok, you will figure out what other people around your industry or people who are founders like your builders like you, what they're posting and what is working for them. Please don't be afraid to imitate and steal ideas. Just make it your own and just iterate from there.
Now, this is such like, I'm taking notes. It's a banger of advice. I'm going to take a pause and get a sense of people who are in the room. Give me a thumbs up if you're really enjoying the conversation. Okay. All right. Okay. Plenty of thumbs up. All right. People are enjoying the conversation.
That's good.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Dope. I've taken, I want to give some examples of like what you just mentioned, which is pick a platform and publish. When I started building, I started posting on LinkedIn. For people who follow me on LinkedIn, I have published some clickbaity titles, but like I write a lot. Like over the holiday, I think I wrote like 10 articles. Purely because while I'm on holiday, I'm not working, but my brain is still going. Mm-hmm. And I've just written so many things. So if you see 5 more articles over the next couple of weeks, don't be surprised. I wrote them in December. Mm-hmm. So that's the first one. So like my beehive has grown quite a bit. I think I've got like 500. Sorry, Bash, I'm going to mute you. I've written, thank you, Bash. I've written, like I have 500 readers. Now, this might sound trivial, but like this is 500 organic people that read whenever I write something. Like last year, it was maybe like once a month, but I think I've published 2 or 3 pieces this year already. And it's just still the 15th of January. And I can see that, as you said, like the consistency really helped. And then publish. One tip I'm taking from this is publish what you've learned, because I don't think I've done really well there. So I think I'm going to, again, I learn every day. So I think I need a piece on what I've learned. For folks who are here, if you have any questions, I'm going to start taking questions after the last piece. I have one more question for you. I'm going to take questions. So if you have a question, 2 ways you can do this. You can use the comments and just paste it there, or I'll come to you. You can unmute yourself and then introduce yourself and then ask the question. We'll try to keep it again within 45 minutes because I know Peace, you're busy. So founders, now you've spoken to a ton of founders, 100 plus, you're now a founder. If you had to give founders like one honest change to make this year in how they talk about the company, how they show up, publicly or how they engage people, like users, customers, what would it be that can help them attract trust and capital?
Don't hide, be outside. Because that's honestly like probably the most remarkable thing I've learned since I started this product-led founder journey. So this part of being a founder is you can't build in isolation, right? For a lot of us, when you build like a nice career and then you have an idea, there's a lot of, oh my God, it needs to be perfect. So I'm going to really wait, before like I actually talk about it. Or expecting that you're just going to be where you are, and then the users will come, the investors will come, the audience will come. But it really happens that way. Like your job as a founder is to be outside. If you now unfortunately take the burden of a CEO, you have no choice. If you're co-founder, CTO, just code. In fact,
yes.
Tell my co-founder, like, just stay in the house and code. That's okay. But if you are CEO, COO, then your job is really to like be outside. And the reason why is because your users are outside, right? Your potential investors are outside. Potential partners are outside. Other founders who are building and can share and help you understand the journey as well, and just like run to each other. Those people are outside. So you want to like get out of your way and put yourself out there. And be outside for me is both online and offline, right? It is social media is there. Just don't be a reader anymore. Start posting, because it's interesting, but the way the tide has shifted over the last 18 months, where it had only used to be a handful of people and then creators and maybe a few founders that will post. But now it's working, right? And because it's working, there's more people who are primed and open to it as well. So it's not just like people are tired. People can say they're tired, but really they're more open to it because people are also finding valuable products, valuable information, because more people are creating. So even me, I'm like, yes, there's a lot, everybody's writing right now, but because more people are writing, I'm finding more value and more content that I won't have found before. So people are actually open to that information. So you'll be there as well, engage, understand what's actually happening, but also share and sell, and then offline, it's also for people like me who are introverts. I don't really like people like that.
Peace, you're not an introvert. Stop it.
People don't believe me when I say this. Well, it takes a lot to go outside. I would do events, but I'll be like, yeah, everybody's engaging, and I'll just stay one place. But now I'm realizing that at this point, especially when, and it sometimes can depend on your product, when you're using a consumer product, everybody is a potential user. So you are talking to people. So yeah, don't just expect. And even when you hire people, and you're going to have to hire really great people to get things moving, right? And like nurture them, you still need to be able to be there and be really good at it. You can't really know when somebody is selling your product well if you have never done it or tried it. You can't know if your product manager is translating that idea right to PRD if you've actually never tried it. Like founder mode is important. It's not like burn yourself out, but you need to try, you need to talk, you need to sell, you need to like do all the things so you can manage the people who you're going to hire and even have a great eye for what fantastic is. There was I think it was an article I saw today, I can't remember exactly where, but it was like, it was on Twitter, and the person was saying, don't hire, I think it was Paul Graham actually. It was like, don't hire until you actually have a need. As some founders tried, I think it was Gary Tan. Sorry, I'm missing them, but it was on Twitter. And it was basically saying, don't hire anyone on your team until it is obviously a pain. Like some people try to hire and say, I'm going to need maybe a compliance person in 3 months. And they start hiring now. But that's how you end up stacking roles that are not necessary. You hire when things are already breaking. But what caught my eye was saying, when you hire what is already breaking, and when it is already breaking, when somebody is not good, it's very easy for you to spot it because you can already tell what good is. And you already know that I was doing this yesterday, I was doing this last week. So what are you doing? You need to do it better than me. But you can't know that until you're actually there trying. So be outside and like be very diligent about doing as much of the work as you can so that you can get the right people to like continue for you.
This is sick advice, because like I feel like in the past I've hired for roles I'm thinking about, but now it's like, okay, well, this thing is breaking, I need to hire somebody. But also what I want to add to what you said is when you hire the person, they're coming to fix something very specific.
You have the real plan.
Yeah, like it's like you're coming in You're starting on Monday, but Sunday, I need you to start working on this. I don't encourage anybody to work on weekends, but like, it's very clear what they're coming to fix. And like, there is that 1, 2, or 3 problems that they're coming in for. It's not more that, oh, you come in and then we need to figure this thing out. And like, as a founder, I've had to learn the hard way. And like, hiring is such a tricky thing because some people can interview very well, but like when it comes to the day-to-day,
yeah.
Also, some people can interview terribly, but they're beasts.
Yeah.
And you also, I think the best case is somebody interviews really well and then kill it at the role. But yeah, this has been super, super insightful. Before I leave you, Peace, I have a couple of questions in here, but can you tell people what is Rivva? If there's a way they can join the wait list or potential user, can we do that?
Yes, please. So just go to the website. It's rivva.app, which is RIVVA.app. This is actually the first public platform we're talking about it. It's still in beta, but we have web and we have iOS. Okay, so what is Rivva? So Rivva is an AI productivity tool that basically auto plans your energy to fit your energy and your day to fit your energy. The problem that we're trying to solve is that for a lot of us who are knowledge workers, we're trying to power through the entire day. And what happens is that you end up feeling drained, abundant, and less productive because you're working against your energy. But everybody has like specific times in a day where their energy flows and where your energy peaks and dips. But and if you actually work in line with your energy, 2 things happen. 1, you are less likely to burn out ever because you're sustaining your cognitive capacity. And 2, you're also more productive and more effective because when you do these things at the right time, you are not struggling against your brain. We all know this, where there are times where you try to do something and it's just taking longer because you are tired. You know that if you had done that at a different time of the day, you feel like I would have been in flow, I would have knocked it out. Instead of guessing every single day when that flow is for you or when it is not, Rivva can actually just tell you so that you're actually orchestrating the tasks that you have to do every day in line with the way your brain and your body is actually working. That's a very simple thing that we're doing. And we're currently on beta. We have iOS and web. If you sign up on Rivva.app, you will get an invite in a few hours or in a day. You can try it out. It's a global product, so it's very interesting. I get to like talk to people from different parts of the world right now and just really understand how this problem is showing up for them. And we're iterating and building, and we're going to keep improving it.
I love it. So for people who are here, first of all, please do go sign up. Second, if you have friends, family, cousins, auntie, send them the link. Peace, is that okay? Can they share the link with other people?
Please. I'm outside.
Yeah, like, listen, post it on social, add it to your WhatsApp story, post it on LinkedIn. Just like, I think there are 52 of us on this call. Like, if each one of us just send it to one more person, that's 100 signups. So the numbers will add up. Peace. I want
that
to
would mean a lot to me, everybody.
Right?
So,
guys, please blast it, post about this, share it with people. If you got value from this conversation, which I did, that's the one ask I have for you. We have a couple of questions, Peace. I hope that's okay.
Yes, please. I think I still have a bit of time.
Okay, good. So the first one is from Daphne, which is, I'd like to know if funders can still fund my business. I'm working on registering my business as an LLC. We train people, and what angles can I take to raise money? I think Peace covered a lot of this, right? Peace in this.
Yes, but even that question I think is more for you because you are the investor in this this part. So if you want to share on that, please do.
Yeah, I think like Daphne, you can't raise money without registering your company. It's just about finding those people who believe in you. I remember when I was raising money for Borderless, I didn't have, like most people I pitched them before I set up the company, but it was easier to pitch because I was doing something else. So like we've been running Hook for a couple of years. We had that traction. So it helped. Yeah, you can raise money. It makes it, I think it's much easier to raise from your friends and family in this round because they know you. So again, like the product that we're building, Raise, really helps you raise from your friends and family. And we'll touch on it briefly after this conversation. The second question, well, this is not a question, I think it's a comment. It's from Lindsay. I totally agree that being a founder is selling your products to users and investors. Are there mental frameworks that you would have at the back of your pocket that can help founders when they're trying to pitch investors versus users? Peace, I can go first.
Okay.
I think it's two different pitches. Like with Investors, you're selling the vision. My vision for Borderless is we're building that one single infrastructure that will allow the diaspora to invest in Africa. That's it. Like, it's big. The market size is huge. Like, we're pitching a 400 billion opportunity. For users, I'm making it easy for them to fund the next big thing. That's it. Like, very, very easy. You can fund the next big thing. You can fund Rivva, you can fund real estate, and it will be frictionless. I can guarantee it's not there, but founders want you to make, users want you to make their life very easy. So it's like two different ways. Peace, how do you approach this?
Really, I think you answered it the way I would have. When I first read it, I thought to myself, I said, first of all, the way you would sell to an investor is very different from the way you sell to a user. And you need to know like what the difference is. Secondly, I think for me, the most important question I ask when I'm trying to sell is who is that person and what do they need to hear for them to buy in, right? If I'm selling to a team member, but I'm selling the amount of money we're going to be making this company. If we're selling to a user, I'm selling pain, right? If I'm selling to an investor, I'm selling vision. We're going to make money, but quite the different way that I sell the dream for when I'm trying to hire someone. Because once you are able to nail down the problem and the pain and what they each need to hear, it becomes a conversation. It's less about selling. You're just addressing, whatever you learned, which means that the first part of selling is doing that research and doing that dirty work of really understanding who is this investor or who are these investors? What's their thesis? What do they need? What are they looking for? Because when you pitch to investors, you pitch the same thing in different ways depending on who you're talking to, because they all have slightly different theses. So just really doing that research, I found has been very, very valuable. And it's been very interesting being on the other side, where I was on the side with what pitching. Now I'm on the other side and I have to remember to say, okay, this is founder told you, the investor.
Yeah.
So we are speaking to users. You want to make sure that you have a pain and you've done your research to understand the language that customers hear and they can understand. Where it's like 8 out of 10 times when I say the same thing, it converts 10 out of 10 users within my ICP. I say within my ICP because not everybody is a user. Depending on the product, you need to know who is my user. If I'm speaking to a marketing person that is in my ICP and then someone who is in compliance, I don't really care about the compliance person. I'll just gist you about what I'm building. But the marketing person, the language has to connect so that they can immediately remember the pain. So I think that's my framework. Like, know who you're speaking to, be able to divide it, and then do your research and understanding, okay, this is the language and this is how I need to say to them.
Can we define ICP for people who don't know what that is?
Ideal customer profile. So so for every product, right, you should have your ideal customer profile. Not everybody, it's not every product that is best for everybody. There's some consumer product that anybody can use, but most of the time, especially when you're early, you want to find the ideal customer profile that are more likely to be power users, the ones who feel the pain the most and who are willing to buy. So willingness to buy is an important part of saying, this is my ICP, and then those are the ones you want to focus on first, and then you can then spread the word across.
I love it. I love it. I just wanted to add one thing, which is like, when you're pitching to investors, whether you're pitching to an angel investor versus a syndicate versus a fund, the messaging is also different. So I wanted to add that. Wow, we've got a lot of questions. Damn, guys. Sorry. Let me see how many we can knock through very quickly. So the next one is, without a patent, what's the best way to discuss a project with engineers and investors in a way that the intellectual property doesn't get exposed and set up? And also the follow-up is, what's the best approach of NDA pre-patent?
I can answer the first part. You can try for the second. So don't ask investors to sign any NDA because of intellectual property. That's just a no, right? The minute you tell an investor, oh my God, my idea is too precious, can you sign this? They're not going to invest. So just don't do that. When you're ready to, here's the thing, right? The minute you are ready to raise, just know that your idea is out there and you need to get comfortable with it. Also, ideas are damn a dozen. Multiple people have the same idea. There can be multiple competitors in this space. It's not really the fantastic idea. It's going to be about the edge that you're able to figure out for yourself, like what becomes your competitive advantage, right? What's your wedge, and how do you make sure that that stays, right? You need to create for yourself your own moat, right? And just execute, because even if I hear your idea, it doesn't mean that I would execute it better than you. So just focus on the execution, not I have a fantastic idea. With engineers, I think, especially if you're building a technical product, the one thing that you can do that would be very great is getting a good technical co-founder. Because when you are non-technical trying to hire technical people, there's always going to be a language barrier. And you won't always be able to hire perfectly because you don't even know what great looks like.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get a great technical co-founder, then that person can have a great idea of what it looks like. You obviously are not going to be exposing your code base when you're doing interviews. So you need to find the best way to just interview like you interview for any other role, right? Talk through the skills that they need, the experience that they need, talk through what they've seen in that market, give them a test if you need to, but have somebody who can tell you that this person's code or this person's, because coding is learning is really about the thinking. Now that AI can do everything, this person's cognitive ability is great to solve the kind of problem you're trying to solve. And if you don't have a technical co-founder, maybe find an advisor, because if you cannot code, you can't interview a really great engineer. You probably won't do it well. So get somebody who at least can be like, okay, this is good, this is not good, and then go from there.
One thing I would add to that is, like, not everybody is passionate about what you're building. That's the first one. And the second one is, like, investors see so many pitches. Like Hoke, we received 800 pitches last year. That's slightly over 2 a day. What that means is, like, Hoke has no energy to copy your idea. So it's good to get patents, but a lot of investors would probably not have a conversation with you because you want them to sign an NDA. Okay, I'm going to go through it. Next one is there a difference between a founder that juggles a full-time job and his startup and a founder that only works on their startup? How do you keep motivation going with a completely remote founding team? Can I answer the first one?
Yes, please.
Me personally, it did not make sense for me to be doing this alongside my full-time job. The first is, like, by the end of the day, after you work till 5, 6, in some cases like later, you have zero energy for any more work. Like I didn't, because we did Hoke on the side for so long. So I just knew that part-time wasn't for me. And so that's the first thing. The second one is, me, Joe, I will not give anybody money as an investor if you're not working on the thing full-time. It just does not show commitment. It varies from investor to investor, but most investors will not give you money unless you're working on it full-time. You're probably going to ask, oh, but I need the money to go full-time. Investors want you to go full-time so that they can give you money. But you have to find a way to kind of balance it. Most investors I know will not fund a part-time startup. Some have, but yeah, it's very difficult to raise capital. Peace, how about you?
I think you're very right. It's very hard to raise money, especially in this terrain, especially as an African founder, if investors don't know that you're all in. Because investors they've also gotten bonds in the past. So that's incredibly hard. The other thing I was going to say, my first answer was just going to be, focus is a force multiplier. When it's pretty much what you said, right? The energy part. When you focus on something, it's just momentum. It's faster, it's harder, it's like faster momentum, like the momentum, you can feel it, than when you are distracted and you're having to do multiple things. However, there is a reality where sometimes a founder cannot just afford to. So you need to know what your trade-off is. If you want to get to a place where until you feel very safe, you can't quit your job, that's fine. Just know that the trade-off is, like, you might not raise money right now. So you're going to have to bootstrap for a while, strap to the point where you then have like really good traction to then raise money really fast and quit your job, right? But don't expect that you're going to do both and get away with it, have a full-time job and then raise money from investors. That's unlikely to happen right now.
Yeah. And also the commitment, like investors want you to commit. If you can't show commitment by giving your all to a company, like, well, how would it commit money to you, right? Folks, next time I'm going to charge for this session because there's so many questions that please, can we do one more question, please?
Yes.
One last question. Sorry, folks, I'm so sorry. I don't know which one. Jeffrey, your question is very long, but I'm going to try to go through it. As a member of the African diaspora, what are the best ways today to manage a business or investment in Africa from Europe or the US? What tools, structures, or models are currently used to handle things like payment, partners, reporting? Yes, and control. So let me finish. So control on the ground. I'm particularly interested in practical real-world solutions that actually work across borders banking. All right, so the short answer, Jeffrey, is Borderless. This is the company that I run, which is organizing this session. The part that you mentioned about doing things on the ground, depending on the assets, you definitely need people on the ground. And the asset that we have in Kenya, we have full-time property managers that do that. You will find other platforms that have people on the ground, but again, this is what we're building. Happy to find time to speak. So I'm going to consider that as a half question. Michael, say, how can I get a mentor without me being the only one on the receiving end? Not sure. I hope you don't mind, Michael. I'm going to skip your question. Evie Homisola. Well, thank you for joining the session. This is an interesting interaction. Do you mind sharing examples of storytelling tactics that actually build community and attract capital opportunities? I don't know. Maybe you'll join the session late, but this is pretty much all we talked about. Yeah. And Evie, there will be a recording of this that you can have access to. It should drop tomorrow. So cool. Oh my God, I'm so bad at this. How do you spot a good investor for your startup/product? What is the best way to partner with big corporate companies? Peace, do you want to take the last one? Because I'm thinking what's the best way to partner with big corporate companies?
I think it's sort of the same thing, right? So at risk for repeating myself, with any partnership, it's not just about what you need from them. Because I think when we think about partners, we're always thinking, oh my God, if I get this partner, they will make my life easy. Yes, they will. But for you to close any deal, it has to be what you can also contribute to them as well. So when you're finding partners, whether it's small or it's big as corporate, it doesn't really matter. I think you want to identify how do we fit into their own current needs or their own current strategy, right? Because once you can say, hey, this is their strategies where they're going and this is how we fit in, then the conversation is much easier. So I would say if you're looking to close any partner, corporate or small, think about the partnership, not just from your perspective. Think about how do you fit in? Are they maybe trying to expand somewhere and you're like, we are the best people in this market, so if you just plug with us, it's easier. Do they have like a specific product gap that you want to plug into? Do you have the visibility and they have the product, or do they have the reach and you have the product? Like there has to be somehow where both partners are then getting like benefit. And then that's the easiest way. And the rest of it is just treat it like a marketing strategy, figure out who all those partners, and then, do outbound, do inbound, get referrals, reach out to them, sell, close the deal.
Amazing. This has been fantastic. I've taken so many notes. I can't wait for us to post this video because I will be watching it again. For those who joined us late, this session has been super, super interesting, and I encourage you to watch it. It will be on the Borderless YouTube, which we'll share. Peace. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. And so Peace and I will probably be doing a lot of stuff together in person. So yeah, peace. Super grateful for your time. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. This was really fantastic. And thank you everybody for engaging, listening, and asking questions. I will drop off now so that I can give Joe back his platform. But enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Good evening.
Thank you. Peace. All right. So I'm going to invite Timi to invite. Timi, who are we inviting to talk about Africa Tech Summit?
Mark, I think he's here, baby.
Mark, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Marco, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
I'm doing great, and thank you for the invite and partnering with us. Do I need to turn on my video?
Well, it's up to you. It's up to you. But Mark, I'm going to pin you really quickly. And for those who don't know, we're organizing this series of webinars. We're calling it Road to Africa Tech Summit. Mark, do you want to tell people about what Africa Tech Summit is, when it's happening, and how can people partake?
Thank you very much. So Africa Tech Summit Nairobi is going to be our 8th edition. We usually have the Africa Tech Summit in London. Actually, this year we'll be doing the 10th event. So it's been 10 years in the game of bringing people together from all over the world, like just bringing the ecosystem together to connect, explore, and invest in Africa. So over the last 10 years, of course, we've tracked a number of investments, and especially this Africa's event has really driven some good results. Then, like, there's some amazing stories of what we've been trying to do and helped some startups to achieve. So this one, especially for the founders, they can just join through registering. We usually used to have to select a number of startups to pitch at the main stage of the event. We have already read the selection of 12 startups. So we used to say 10, but whenever the applications are good, we add more. There's been a time in London we had to do 16 because we read the applications, and if they are good, because our main goal is to really influence investment in Africa, we have to prioritize the startup to pitch. And for joining us, just going through the website and register. Even on the 10th of Feb, we have Founders Day. It is something we started in London back in 2023. We learned that having just the summit on the 2 days, it wasn't enough, and decided to create a day for just founders and selected investors. So this time we have it again in Nairobi. So for whoever is registering, plan to be in Nairobi from 10th. So on the 10th, you can join us for the Founders Day. And then on the 11th and 12th, we'll be having the main summit at Sarit Center. And good thing is, of course, as we're partnering with you, they can use the Borderless code to access the summit, like to have the passes on a discounted rate. So simply let me know if I have covered everything well, or if there's anything I should explain.
No, you've covered it perfectly. So if you're a founder, you're going to Africa Tech Summit Nairobi, use the code to register. We will be there, myself, Timmy, and also the Hope team will be there. So we'll be more than happy to find time with you to catch up with you. And as this is a four-part webinar, the fourth part, we're going to do a pitch practice. So if you're a founder, if you just want to practice your pitch in front of an audience, whether you go to ATS or not, preferably whether you're going, we'll love to have you. And we'll announce this at the end of the first 3 sessions that we'll have. Mark, thank you so much for sharing more about ATS, and I'll see you in Nairobi.
Yes, see you too. Thank you.
All right, so for people who don't know who we are, and somebody was asking about leveraging platform, we are building Borderless, which is an all-in-one infra for diaspora communities to invest easily. We're starting with people essentially coming to a platform, build their investment collectives, and help founders or projects get funded. We have a ton of exciting features, so you can, as an investor, you can join multiple collectives. We help collective managers with a bunch of tools such as managing multiple assets, managing membership, investor accreditation, collecting funds, dispersing. You can join the Borderless as an investor. We'll post the link in the comments very shortly. Check it out as an investor. If you're a founder, the next slide, which is here, will be very, very useful for you. One thing that we've learned, including me as a founder, is fundraising is hard. Let's not even bullshit it. It's very difficult, but it can be easier if you have the right tools. So about 6 months ago, we started testing this product, which is, we're calling Raised by Borderless. And what Raised by Borderless does is it makes it very easy for founders to raise from their friends and family. The way it works is we spend time with you. We help you with your data room. We help you with you should already have a deck. We'll put all this information on a page and we'll give you a link. That link you can share with anybody who wants to invest in your company. It could be anything as low as $1,000 to $10,000. We pull all the money together and then we send you the money. And what you'll see is you'll have one company on your cap table instead of piling 50 people in your cap table. We streamline all the processes. We take care of the legal, we take care of the fund collection, and we take care of the reporting. So you as a founder, fundraising can finally be easy. The good thing is we built this because when I was fundraising, I found it very difficult, and we patched something together and we realized that, oh, more people can use this. Raised by Borderless will be going live shortly. But if you want to have access to it, I have the WhatsApp message here. Drop us WhatsApp number, drop us a message, or hello@borderless.com, and then yeah, we can help you set it up. We'll also be on hand to help founders if you go to ATS in Nairobi. We can sit down with you, run you through it, and if there are investors in Nairobi who want to give you money, it will be finally easier. Now, as part of this 4-part series, we have 2 very important sessions coming. The next one is with Solomon King. Solomon King is he's the managing director of Lagos Angel Network. The reason why I'm bringing him here is because he wrote this book, which is all about fundraising, which I read over the holidays, and I loved this so much that I sent him a message. I'm like, Solomon, I think you and I need to have a conversation. Why didn't you write this book 2 years ago when I started thinking about fundraising? But don't worry, if you haven't started that journey, I will be bringing Solomon here on Monday, and I have a ton of questions for him. And also, have a link for people who want to learn about the book. If you follow my newsletter, I will be writing a small piece about this book that I read. I found it super insightful. And one thing I really like about the book isn't just the fact that it's for fundraising for companies. It's also fundraising for non-for-profit, which is something that you don't really hear about. So I think Solomon spent a lot of time writing this book, and I'm bringing him to have a conversation. The last conversation I'll be having will be Tamara Pasibi, and this is going to be around, like, we're going into the weeds of fundraising. So like due diligence, deal rooms, how to build credibility with investors. Tamara is an expert in this space, and I'm only bringing like superstars here. So Tamara is going to be here talking to you about how to get ready for fundraising, data rooms, and just get ready as you're thinking about raising capital. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have one last session that we haven't really published, which is, practicing your pitch live. So I'll probably bring 1 or 2 investors here where you can pitch in front of them, and then they can give you feedback. We'll be sharing more about this as we, go through the next couple of weeks. For those who don't know anything about me, I write a lot on my newsletter, which is on Beehive. Do check it out. And yeah, I'll be writing about the book that I read on with Solomon, and more about the upcoming session. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh my God, that was exactly an hour, 6 p.m. on my clock. Thank you for joining us. I hope this was useful. If it was useful, please give us feedback. Let us know how we can make it better. Please connect with us. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, X. Join our WhatsApp channel. Go follow our YouTube, because we'll be posting a lot of content to make life much, much easier for founders like myself, and also future and current founders. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you somewhere in the world, whether it's in Nairobi, it's in Lagos. Yeah, I hope you found this session super useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.